Hello everyone, you're welcome to another time out with me, Therapist Victor, here on Liberators Network. You know we love you and that's why we show up every day, bringing you informations that help you make informed choices that impact your life positively. Today, we'll be having a conversation that most persons don't want to have. Recently, I saw a post and I want to read that post out to you. The post reads, "Hypersexuality after sexual trauma early in life should be discussed more." And that is what we want to do today. You see, a whole lot of persons are victims of trauma, either sexual trauma or non-sexual trauma. And the presentation during older age is quite traumatic, devastating, trickles in and affects the society in ways that have left the society begging for repair. Now, one of the comments in that post that was made reads, "It doesn't mean you sleep around. It can mean you have urges that are impossible to deal with. Things like isolation, self-harm, or chronic addiction." Today, we are going to have that conversation. Now, before we proceed, let's define our terms. Hypersexuality. Now, hypersexuality in the eyes of the society is stereotyped, calling the person promiscuous, wild, and even in the Nigerian language, koromoto men and koromoto women. Well, today we are going to be understanding why these individuals are hypersexual and how they can walk away from this state. Remember that most hypersexual individuals are using sex as a mechanism to fill in the gap what that trauma has caused in their brain. Now, hypersexuality has two major presentations, just in case you don't know. It has the externalized presentation and the internalized presentation. The externalized hypersexuality, which most persons see, often presents itself as high partner count, risky sexual behaviors. That is what we see. And then we label these persons as koromoto. Well, there's another presentation, which is the internalized hypersexuality. This is the battle of the mind. This characterized by having the urge to engage in pornography, constant, continuous, damaging masturbation, and sexual intrusive thoughts. Now, you can see that a person who is hypersexual as a result of trauma will show all of these signs that I've just mentioned. Risky sexual behaviors, high partner counts, pornography, engaging in damaging acts such as masturbation, and having intrusive sexual thoughts. When you meet individuals who show this presentation, what do? Do you throw them under the bus? Or you tend to understand them from the point of trauma? Or you just join the crowd? As one commenter wrote in the thread, "This often leads to insomnia and profound isolation. You aren't out partying. You are trapped in your own bedroom, feeling your body is a stranger to you. This isn't a moral failing. It's a maladaptive coping mechanism. It's a way the nervous system tries to handle a pain that is too big to carry." This is just a fact. That is the truth. These persons experience insomnia and isolation. They don't know how to bond. They don't know how to connect because their brain was not taught to connect, to bond. And when they are experiencing crisis and what have you in life, what do they turn to? They turn to sex as a means of gaining clarity. Sex in itself gives clarity, but in this context, they don't have any other mechanism. They don't have any other outlet to gain clarity aside sex. That is why they have this addiction towards sex and they have this hypersexuality. First, we need to talk about dopamine. if we want to really understand how their brain works. I know dopamine, that's the reward hormone. Yes. Now, for these individuals and individuals who have experienced complex post-traumatic stress disorder, their baseline is that of either hyperactivity or numbness. Now, for them to get this dopamine spike being released massively in their brain, what do? They engage in sex. And this sex needs to be high intensity, frequently, and of a pattern that would be able to release this dopamine in their brain. If they don't get this dopamine released in their brain, definitely there won't be clarity. And you can see that in the way they communicate with people. They have poor judgment. To even an extent, they have poor sight. They don't read well. They don't see well because they have clumsy mind. Their brain becomes foggy as a result of them not engaging in these sexual activities. Psychology often calls this reenactment. And what does this mean? You have a child who is abused at an early age. The brain is already taught and have been programmed to respond to things in a certain way because of this abuse. Now, when the child is older and has more control and can dictate a whole lot of things, what happens? These individuals tend to recreate that scene. And this time, they recreate the scene in a way that they are the boss, not the subordinate. They become the boss. They are the one giving the yes, even in the action, because they want to recreate that scene while they were younger because there was no yes. It was a no, no, no. But boundary was violated. Their boundary was violated. This has left a loop in their brain, thereby making them to want to recreate that scene again. And psychologists refer to this as reenactment. They are trying to bring back that memory. And, you don't bring back a memory from a different type of memory. You bring back a memory from that scenario. This memory was created in a sexual environment. Therefore, for them to get that memory and enact it, superimpose it, and tell their subconscious act that, their subconscious mind, and tell their subconscious mind that, now I'm in control. Now I'm the chief. Now I can detect and, say this. I'm the chairman here. They play out that scenario again, over and over again. And you know what happens? It makes them to become addicts, even when they are hypersexual. They become addicts. Another one is cross-wiring. This is how the brain works. You have the threat system, and then you have the reward system. Yes, in the brain. When individuals are sexually harassed and violated sexually, these two separate systems become entangled. These individuals now see high intensity actions and equate it with closeness, which in reality is not the fact. So you now see individuals who, until you have sex with them, you are not close to them. Repeatedly. The moment you try to pull away, the moment you try to say, no, this is not right, let's give it more time, then what do you hear? You hear things like, you don't love me, you are sleeping outside, and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. It is actually good to share closeness, to share bond. But if you are sharing this bond to close up a loop that is caused by trauma, you are doing more harm than good, because you cannot use a wrong to cover a wrong. You can only use a right to undo a wrong. So getting involved in sexual activities to cover up the trauma that has been caused from your early age is not right. No. But I'm not here to judge you, because we are walking this path together. Remember, if you watching me, you're a survivor or you support one, you are not alone. There are many persons who have experienced sexual assault while they were much younger, which has resulted into trauma and causing them to be hypersexually very active, if you permit me to use the word. Now, before we proceed, I'd like to read out a comment. Now, this comment reads that, this comment is by Kayla. It reads, most women get ashamed of this and it's so sad. Well, she's right, because the society judge these individuals through the lens of morale. But this is not your moral feeling. This is your brain trying to cope with something that is too big for you to handle. This is a trauma that you weren't taught. This is a trauma you weren't taught to handle. This is something that has caused you pain. You can't even speak. Your brain is just learning how to cope. Think of it as a child who cannot walk and is learning to walk. Definitely you will fall many times. That child will definitely fall many times. And while falling and rising, that child will become strong and definitely would walk. So your brain is coping from the trauma that has happened while you were much younger. How do we move forward from here is now the question. And before we go further into how we move forward from here, let's see some of the damages that it can cause. One of the things that hypersexuality can actually cause is clumsiness. Yes, it can also lead to the persons being poor communicators. You see, individuals who would say, I'm a good communicator and all of that. Well, those individuals are individuals who have started healing or have healed. But you see, individuals who are yet to come to terms with the reality of what happens or what has happened to them while they were much younger, they are not usually good communicators. Not because they don't want to be good communicators, but because they are caught or trapped in the scenario of what happened to them way, way back. And they are living in denial of it. So they are losing touch to reality. Another thing is, you see individuals who are hypersexually active to become sex objects. If care is not taken, these individuals become sex objects. Yes. In a relationship, one person is traumatized, the other person is not traumatized. If there is no clear communication, if there is no clear understanding between these partners, what will happen is the person who is traumatized will be using sex as a mechanism to cover up, to fill out the vacuum that trauma has caused. And what will happen at the end of the day? This other person will see the partner as a sex object, thereby objectifying these individuals instead of loving these individuals. That's why you see persons don't know how to love other than give their body. Am I saying in a union, giving your body is wrong? No. But in the context of trauma, when you are giving your body to cover up the trauma space caused while we are much younger, definitely you are causing more harm to yourself. You are bringing in more baggages than unboxing the baggage that is already inside your brain. Now, how do we get away from this paradox? How do we get away from these cycles? How do we get away from this stagnation? One of the ways you can do that is shift the narrative. Every time you feel this urge, every time you feel this sensation, speak loud. Now, there is something about speaking loud to yourself. It tells your brain that it's in a safe place. It tells your brain that it is in a safe space. It tells your brain that, hey, you are good here. It's safety. Why you are feeling that is as a result of your brain thinking that there is trouble, there is trouble, there is trouble. So when the trouble signal is activated, flight or fright. Definitely to cover up, to cope, to be able to get out of that box, your body will definitely require you to engage in sex. Instead of engaging in that sex, one thing you should do is speak to yourself. I am safe. There's no trouble. I am safe. There's no trouble. Repeat words of affirmation to yourself. Yes, that's very, very good, and it's active. Another way you could break away is seek trauma-informed solution. Don't just read randomly from the internet or speak to any random person. No, I would advise that you meet with a professional. Yes, sex therapist or someone who is a professional. Speak with the person, and definitely you would have the best approach. Another thing you can apply is safe grounding, and this requires you splashing cold water on your face. Yes, it tends to jerk you back to reality. It tends to call you back to consciousness. Another thing is using weighted blankets, because what the nervous system want to feel that time is warmth, pressure. And when you have a weighted blanket all over your body, what will happen is the same signal that copulating with an individual will give you, that weighted blanket will give you. You could also try breathing in and out, breathing in and out. Over time, it has been shown that deep breath helps to calm your nerves. So instead of, relying on this dopamine spike and engaging in activities that would cause more damage than good, why not follow these paths that I've just shown you? If we agree, hypersexuality caused by trauma from sex from early age is actually a damaging experience. It can make the person a damaged person. We are coming to the end of this conversation, and there are a few things I want to read out to you, so you go with them. Be gentle with yourself this week. You don't have to walk this road alone. You don't need to be in the dark. When you're having and faced with these challenges, remember that you are more than what happened to you. What happened to you should not define who you are, and it does not define your self-worth. But how you respond determines who you are going forward and your self-worth. This is me encouraging you that being sexually abused at an early age is not the end of life. There is a way out. See you in the next episode. Thank you.